what I really want to get across to you today is that for you to understand that getting money for your business from the internet is better, faster, cheaper than getting a grant, than getting a loan, or even venture capital. Man, it's going to change the whole new game, for anybody looking for money to do what they really want to do in life. And this is a way, it really comes from the crowd. And that's why they call it crowdfunding. And it's from people on the internet who believe in what you're doing. And that's why it's better than ever going to some fat cat middleman. And this is, I think, is going to be, bigger than anything else on the internet since pornography. And I've listed really a whole bunch of things why this is so important and for people to know about and take advantage of. Just like the government programs I've been talking to you about. But this is probably even better. So I'm going to put myself out of business. So pay attention. First, it's free. That's right. It costs you nothing to apply to this money. Also, it has no income requirements. You can be filthy rich or dirt poor, and no one's going to care. They're not even going to ask for a credit check. That's right. And there's no credit check. That's right. Where else are you going to apply for money and not have a credit? All you need is a credit card or a debit card for this. That's right. And you keep the money forever. That's right. No one's going to ask you for the money back. It's not a loan. It's not even a grant. So they're not going to come out and pester you. Did you put in the money? Most consider it just a gift. As long as you say, as long as you do what you say you're going to do. And here's a neat thing too. There's no complicated forms, business plans, lawyers, or accountants. You get the money with all those traditional bureaucratic hurdles. No one believes in all that goddamn information anyway. You're all just guessing, but you do it because the bureaucrats ask for it. So there's none of that. You just have to be clear about why you need the money. And most people use a video, to explain their project. Also, it's fast, man. In 30 or 60 days, it's all done, and you know if you got the money. And you'll be sitting there with a big pot of cash to work on your project. And that's all it takes. I mean, the government doesn't work that fast most of the time. Sometimes it does. And here, you don't have to put up with fat cat gatekeepers. I think this is one of the biggest issues about getting money and going begging from the rich people or organizations. See, getting money from banks and government agencies can haunt you forever with paperwork or audits or whatever the heck it is. And fat cats could even be worse, because they have some arbitrary requirements. Oh, I want this to be blue or pink or whatever, who knows why. Or they want you to hire their girlfriend or something like that. You don't have to put up with all that nonsense, people that give you money. And you feel obligated to them because they give you the money. So you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Also, crowdfunding money is a better guarantee of your ultimate success. Because by not going to gatekeepers, you're going directly to the customers. See, the money comes from customers or potential customers and not from these middleman fat cats who really aren't your customers. Says the customers are the ultimate, decider of your success on your future anyway. Does this sell? So if the customers like what you want to do and they want it, then they give you money to go do it. So you already have customers. So you'll know in 30 days if you have a viable business. Going through that other process, that two-step process, you have to go first to the fat cats or the bureaucrats, convince them it's a business, and they don't really know either because they're not your customers. And then take that money and go find the customers and maybe to see if you have a business or not. So you eliminate that step. It's faster, and with the fat cats, if you fail, when you fail, man, you got them calling you on the phone forever and complaining or whatever. And so you eliminate all that kind of stuff. And so that's why, here's another thing. Crowdfunding is a better, faster way to prove your idea is great. In 30 days, you know that paying customers love your idea, and you'll be sitting there with that pot of cash, and it won't cost you hardly anything but your time and just a little out of pocket. Maybe, not even that, sometimes. Okay. Also, Here's the important thing. It's the fastest, cheapest way to fail. Fail is important because that way you could find out what you really should be doing and go and make that. If your idea doesn't work, you've lost very little. You just lost some time and a little out-of-pocket money. But you'll have learned a whole lot of information about what was wrong with your product. See, the only way you really know is you go out and ask customers about it. And they tell you, hey, no, I'm not going to give you money for that. And you just can't ask them. You have to ask them for money for it. Because ask them if they like something, like in a market study, everybody will just be nice to you, and you really don't know if they'll put up money for it. So if people put up money for it, then you know you got a success. And that's why market studies are stupid, because people aren't putting up money. But here, in this kind of thing, people are putting up money. Yes, I believe in what you want to do. Here's the money. I want to help you do that. And that's wonderful, because now you're guaranteed that this is success. And if they say no, then that's great news too, because now you have to go out and find out what's wrong with your idea and work on it. I mean, I've written 100 books and only like 10 have made money. I'm wrong 90% of the time. We all are. Nobody knows. But the market will tell you what's good or bad. So you know ahead of time now, before you even make it, you make your product or service or whatever it is, that it's not good. You don't have to waste time. That's why I used to do sometimes in my work in books, I used to put an ad for the book. This book is available, $19.95 or whatever, and not even have the book. I wouldn't ship, because if nobody bought it, I didn't want to work a year on a book. And that's what this does. It solves that problem. You know in advance if you're going to work on it. Hey, this sucker's going to sell, because look, I got all these people bought it already. That's why it's just going to help our society, help everything grow faster, because you'll know sooner about success and don't have to go through that first step process. Plus, it costs you nothing to fail. That's the important thing. And that's the only way to survive, I think, because nobody knows what's right. So you have to go out and try. And here's a way to try without costing you anything. Because if it costs you, 10 grand or 100 grand or whatever it is, you can only do that so many times before you're out of the game. This you can do forever, because it doesn't cost you anything, just your time. Okay. Now here's one of the neatest things about this stuff. It's the only place that you can go and ask for funding and you may get more than you asked for. And a lot of times that happens. People like your product and you're saying, hey, I need $2,000 to do this. Well, I've talked to people, so many of them, oh, the crowd gave me $7,000, not $2,000, so I can make a better product. This one guy I talked to, he was asking for $23,000 to do a product, and he wound up getting $550,000, right? Over $500,000, and all he wanted was 20 grand. So, well, a bank's going to give you that? You're going to ask for 5 grand? No, why don't we give you 500 grand? Nonsense, kind of thing. And see, this has really taken over, I think, the world or country or whatever. And right, even now, the government is known for giving grants, and one of the grants they give are like artists. Well, already, crowdfunding gives more grants to artists than the government does. Look at last year in 2012, the government gave out $146 million in grants to artists. Crowdfunding gave over $343 million, twice as much as that. And that's what's neat. It's an exciting thing that's going on. Watch it, learn about it. You have to, I think, to survive in our country and to learn the best sources of money. These are people giving you money. People, they're better than bureaucrats, giving you money, because then you don't have to put up with bureaucrats. You put up with friendly crowds that really believe in you and want to do it because they want to be part of it. And that's what's neat. Now here's the top crowdfunding sites, and there's more than this anymore. Kickstarter, Indigo, they're more or less the top two, but the others are very important. They're like special ones for geeks, special one for African American, the Black fundraiser site, the Black Startup is for Black entrepreneurs. And there's some for music, and all kind of other things. But these are the major ones for for business and entrepreneurs and those kinds of ideas. Even nonprofit organizations too. So it's not just business, it's any kind of ideas. Now I've interviewed dozens and dozens of entrepreneurs who got money through crowdfunding, whether it's $500 or $500,000. Now here's a guy who quit his job, invested $150 in his video for the crowdfunding site, and he got $350,000. And he's so fortunate, doesn't he have to spend time on the Los Angeles freeways commuting to work. He does it at home. Or here's another fellow. Now listen, he says, forget startup grants or loans or something like that. He got $695,000 from potential customers for a hoodie he was making. It's a 10-year guarantee hoodie. It's great. Or look at these two brothers. They work at this part-time only because they have full-time jobs. They invested $11 and they got almost $90,000 for their little, it's a little camping item that they invented and Or this fella here, he admits it when I interviewed him that he was a thug. He was a bad person. Drugs, crime, and everything. And he went to the internet and got $8,500 so he can work on being a singer. Right. See, well, there's no credit check there. Right? Or here, this fella talks about how a free web page generated $1 million. That's right, $1 million on his website. Okay. Or here, this is a young fella just out of college. He learned how to get $15,000 to make t-shirts out of scrap. That was an idea he had. Now we're going to take all the old t-shirts and make new ones out of them. People give him $15,000 to do that. Or these two college graduates who raised $7,000 in 21 days. You can't do that in college. You can spend $7,000 in 21 days, not raise it, for an instant ice cream startup. This is great stuff. Or this lady who started a blog and raised $11,000 so she could do a cookbook. That's right, went from a blog to a cookbook, but she needed that 11 grand to do it. And the crowd gave it to her. This young couple here out in San Francisco, actually they immigrated, sounded like them, from Virginia, moved out there, and they got $90,000 in 30 days for their idea that took all your computer cores and bundled them all together. Sounded simple, but it got $90,000 for that idea. Or this teenager here, man, if a teenager can get $12,000 for his invention, why can't you? Because you haven't used it yet, you haven't tried. That's the difference between the teenager and us. The teenager tried and got. Or this bartender got $10,000 to make an herbal sweetener. No synthetics, no garbage you're putting in your mouth. All just good stuff. Or this guy here, he's the most amazing. He even tried to dress like me in the interview, if you could see that. And he was asking for $23,000, but the crowd gave him $556,000. And I said, how could you be so wrong? See what I mean? How it's a nice problem to have. And I have these interviews, if you want to see them on YouTube and my. You could do a subscription, Matthew Lesko, YouTube/Matthew Lesko 70, because I'm 70, so it's Matthew Lesko 70. It's on YouTube if you want to see those videos. But more importantly, use the crowdfunding sites. Get to know them. How you could get them, because later on I'll show you not only for entrepreneuring, you could use crowdfunding to pay hospital bills, to help your friends, to improve the neighborhood, to travel overseas. There's so many other ways to do this. It's an exciting thing that's happening, and it's happening right in your computer, so you don't have to go anywhere else to take advantage of it. You already got it.